Hello everyone, and welcome to our live question and answer session all about postgraduate research opportunities in the College of Social Sciences. I'm Tony, Student Operations Manager and lead our College Graduate School here at the University of Glasgow, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this live session. I'm joined today by some current students and alumni who will talk about their own experiences and they will answer your questions. If there's anything you want to ask the panel, you can put your questions into the chat, and any relevant links will also be posted there. And now it's time to meet our panel. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm fine, thank you. Nice to see everyone here.
Good to see you all, and thanks for taking the time to participate in this session. What would be helpful, maybe just to get us started, would be if I could ask you all to just introduce yourself, your name, year of study, and maybe a little bit about your own research areas. Jessie, over to you first.
Thank you, Tony. So, hello everyone, nice to meet you. I'm Jessie, and currently I'm a year 4 PhD student, a little bit old maybe, but maybe I can provide much more advice that maybe you are want to know. So I'm closing to submit my thesis and I'm doing law generally. And now I'm also a teaching assistant and research assistant in law school. So basically that's about me. And if you want to know more, maybe you can leave some comments there. I can answer anything you want to know.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Jessie. Ian, can I come to you next?
Yes, thank you very, very much, Tony. Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Ian. I am in my first year. So I'm hoping that I'm not very, very old. I'm feeling very, very young. And I'm in the School of Social and Political Sciences. And I'm doing a PhD in Economic and Social History. And I also teach in the University of Glasgow as well.
That's great. Thanks, Ian. Shan, over to you.
Thank you, Tony. Nice to see everyone here. I'm glad to join this live stream from YouTube. My name is Jian. I'm from School of Education. I'm currently in my thesis pending, more or less the same as Jessie. So thesis pending means I'm at the final age of my submission. So that's me. I'm also teaching at the university and also working as a research assistant as well. I will be here basically answering your questions. Any questions about school education? Thank you.
That's great, thanks, Chan. Thanks all, that's been really helpful just to get an understanding of who you are and what you're currently doing here at the university. I guess the first question to ask would be, why did you choose the University of Glasgow? Ian, if I can ask you that first.
Yes, thank you very, very much for asking me the question, Tony. I would say first and foremost, the University of Glasgow is a respectable institution. I maybe sound a bit biased, I'm born in Kenya, made in Scotland, but I actually think that, born in Kenya, made in Glasgow, but I do think that Glasgow made me. I think the university has a really strong part to play in the city, and I think that there's a lot of experience with widening participation, things like the James McCune Scholarship. So on one hand, it's a very sort of globally respected institution, top 100 out, 86. But on the other hand, they've actually got a lot of experience with dealing with real people and real problems. And I think this is an important aspect for me personally when joining an institution, is knowing that you're going to be understood and you can have a sense of belonging, I suppose.
That's great, Ian. Lovely to hear that. Chan, over to you. What was your reason for choosing the University of Glasgow?
I chose University of Glasgow, first of all, definitely because it's an outstanding position in terms of research. The second reason is that I really found someone who has the expertise that match my interest. That's one of the most important things that you have to think about when you're going to apply for a PhD position, because you need your supervisors to guide you throughout your 3, 4, 5 years of studying. So yeah, and I'm also so impressed by the vibe of Glasgow. It's very inclusive and supportive. So I never regretted for coming here to do my PhD.
That's great to hear. Thanks, Jan. And Jessie, finally on that topic about why Glasgow.
Okay, so my story may be a little bit different because I initially chose Glasgow just because supervisor I wanted to work with is in Glasgow. So that's why. That's basically the reason. But I have to say, after joining, I feel that I'm lucky because the working spaces provided PGR by the university are so fancy. We have advanced research center, very new building for PGR to have a very plenty of working space for us, and we can also meet all other peers. So this is what I really appreciate. At that time, my supervisor was in Glasgow.
Got you. That's great, Jessie. So there's a number of different reasons that have all come through there. The importance of supervisors, the inclusive nature of the institution, those are all great things to hear. I can see there's a question popped through to you, Jessie, if that's okay. And it's, could you tell me more about the teaching assistant, research assistant? Where and when did you know about the opportunities for TE?
Okay, so this is also that I have appreciated. This is basically like what the university team, like the HR system and also the supervisor have provided me. And also because in law school, we have a lot of reading groups and also we have research center. So this is the research center provided me with the research assistant position. So this is what I want to say. In Glasgow, we really have a very good research community that we can provide you all kinds of how to prepare for your career in the future, because we have teaching assistant. Like for teaching assistant, every year we have like rolling basis application. So if you want, you can ask your supervisors. Currently, I'm doing a very direct one. I only do competition law, which is my research area. So this is because I let my supervisor know I want to prepare for my career in the future. So maybe can I have the opportunity to assist you in teaching? So that's why I get the teaching assistant position. So I think the supervisor and also the university are always very helpful to
That's great. Thanks, Jessica. There are thanks for doing that. Appreciate there are other questions coming through. What we'll do is we'll cover some sort of high-level questions, if that's all right, and we'll then pick up those towards the end of the conversation. But thank you for dealing with that. So I think one thing that's come through very clearly so far is your passion for the research you're doing. So could you maybe tell us a little bit more about the nature of your research? Jan, I'll come to you on that one first, if that's okay.
Yeah, it will take me maybe 2 to 3 hours to talk about my research in details. But yeah,
if you have the 2 to 3 minute version, that would be great.
Yeah, it's a long story because it takes you 4 or 3 years of your lifetime to finish this huge work. My PhD thesis is about higher education accountability to student voice in the UK context. It's a mixed method research. I collect data by using questionnaire interviews. My participants are student representatives from UK universities across the whole UK, but I didn't get anything from Wales. I just got my participants from Scotland, England, and Northern Ireland. That's quite common for doing research. There are always limitations. And it's quite a political topic. I regretted a little bit choosing this topic during the journey, but it's a good research field to contribute to. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Jan. That's great. Ian, you mentioned during your first year of your PhD, so it'd be interesting to hear a bit about the nature of your research as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tony. Yeah, lots of sort of interesting topics, which I'm quite inspired by. But really my topic is looking at returnee entrepreneurship for development. And I'm specifically going to be looking at the Kenyan diaspora. So the sort of approach is it's like a policy-based PhD paper, some levels of entrepreneurship theory, but it's primarily looking at the factors that either will drive or be a barrier for entry to sort of, for returnee entrepreneurs going back to invest under the umbrella of development. Kenya, for example, an emerging economy, so yeah, that's kind of the context, and yeah, it's going to be a qualitative research, and it's going to interview the Kenyans. So Hakuna Matata, ain't no worries. So yeah, fingers crossed it goes well.
That's great. Thanks for writing. And Jessie, again, just the nature of your research.
Okay, so to make it concise, basically, I'm doing comparative and case analysis research and aim to propose recommendations for practice based on the legislative interpretation. So that's basically my research methodology and what I'm doing, because I'm focused on policy maker, like give some recommendations to policymakers. So not just from a doctrining research. So this is basically what I'm doing.
That's great. I think that's really interesting, just in the breadth of topics and approaches there across the College of Social Science, and we'll have as many different research themes as we have postgraduate research students, really. Moving on then, it was actually touched on, I think, Chan, you may have mentioned it about the Glasgow research community. So it'd be interesting to hear from you how your own experience of that, so what has that meant to you, and how would you describe that to people considering a PhD at the University of Glasgow? This time, Jessie, if you would mention something.
Okay, so actually, just now I have mentioned a little bit about the research community, and now I want to add more about what I get from the community and about the healthcare, because we have research community. We will give you training on research methodology. This is basically every university will provide, but we also care about your health. So we will have some like online and both offline about healthcare, and also we have some work community that we can not only discuss about our different research areas, and also we can have a 1 hour or 2 hour work on the Kelvin Grove Park. This is one of the good points of University of Glasgow. We really trying to take advantage of our location and provide you a healthy work, like you know, everyone, if you want to work very hard, you first have a very healthy body. So they really trying to give you a very good research atmosphere, and also research like very healthily. So this is what I really appreciate, because I'm personally in love with all kinds of nature things. So this makes me feel like very lucky to join Glasgow.
Thanks, Jessie. That's great to hear. I know it's something that PGRs, researchers before they start off else to hear, there is that concern about it can be it can feel like a kind of solo activity. It's your research, it's very much your project and your passion. So to feel part of a community, know the support that's there, and how that's worked for you is very important. Chan, your thoughts on that topic?
Yeah, for the research community, I'd say people always say PhD is your own research, is your own independent work. But at the University of Glasgow, we are so well supported. We have school level, college level, and also university level supports. You can always find everything you want to have. And again, I mentioned it before, if you didn't find it, you can always request. I'm always impressed by how quick the university, school level, and also college level can process your request and really initiate some new workshops to meet your needs. That's a really great thing. Your research is updating every day, and also needs is updating every day. For example, there are some new things coming, as for example, the AI thing. You might be curious about it. You might need to find a way to figure out whether I should use it or how should I use it. And the university is responding very quickly to let you know what should you do, what you shouldn't do. That's a thing I appreciate a lot. Yeah. We have a research department. We have a variety of workshops, levels. We'll organize all kinds of workshops that we need, from software, from managing time, from like mind your partner or something like that. So you can always find whatever you want to have. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Jan. Ian, over to you. I think just before we hear from you, I think we're getting a strong sense here of the academic support that's there through the research community, but I think it's important if we can hear a bit about the maybe the non-academic aspect of it, supporting you and working as an individual, because it's a long time that you're here and it's not all about constant research, it's feeling part of something bigger as well.
Yeah, well, I suppose for me, I think that's a very sort of practical question, because I kind of did my academic journey a little bit 360. I actually started off with a graduate teaching assistant role in an institution in Edinburgh. And, you know, I decided not to pursue a PhD in that institution. Now, for me, I've had experience in over 4 different institutions, just from teaching, started off as teaching and kind of being exposed to research. And what did attract me to the University of Glasgow was the culture, which is clear to see. So I think the word that they sort of throw about is world changing. And I think the slogan is people make research. And, you know, I mean, I think, look, you're surrounded by the best talent. It's got a very positive culture. And I think that the outcome is very sort of inspiring and engaging. You are in with, you know, an engaging research community. And I would sort of second what was said about how responsive the institution seemed to be in a lot of ways, even from the onboarding process to everything as a whole. It's clear to see, and I can draw some comparisons from maybe perhaps some of the other institutions that I might have been in, without dropping any names. You know, the bottom line is yeah, I would definitely agree with that it is world changing, based on what I've seen.
Fantastic. Ian, just when you're mentioning other institutions there, and we won't name names, but it kind of leads us into the next question. I think that puts you in a good position to answer this one. So if somebody says, what are the facilities at Glasgow, University of Glasgow, like to allow you to conduct your research, what would your view be?
Well, what would my view be? I mean, yeah, the facilities are incredibly inspiring. I think it's a combination of Harry Potter meets grand designs. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of money that's been spent in the institution. There's lots of facilities, lots of local amenities. But again, I think it's just being in that environment of there not being any barriers to your study and your education and your engagement, because there is facilities, there is the technology, the online learning platforms, there is a lot of the provisions in place. So I think for me, when I look at the institution, we've got the infrastructure there, and as well as the infrastructure, there is a lot of places you can be in a lot of spaces that have been thought out. So again, that's also very clear to me. The combination of young and old, you know, the old campus and the new campuses, and they kind of all come together.
That's it. And some people watching this may know the area, may be familiar with the campus. It won't be, not everyone will be in that space, but through the website and through other links, you'll be able to get a sense of that old and new that you refer to. So thank you for that. Jan, same question for you, just that in terms of the facilities at Glasgow to provide a platform to allow you to conduct your research, how has that been?
Yeah, the thing on the top of my list is that I have a really nice office. I can work with my office mates. And another thing I want to mention that I'm not sure about other schools, but I got a MacBook from the college, so I can work using that MacBook without like using my own laptop. And I know the university is trying to build many new buildings for students, and especially for PGR students. You have different choices of a working space. Someone prefer to sit with other people and sit without, like, listen, while studying. Someone want to hear people chatting around, but someone wants a silent space. You can always find one in University of Glasgow.
Sure, that's great to hear. Finally, on this one, Jessie, from you.
Okay, so I would like to say, like, just add a bit more about library. So librarians are so helpful, because I accidentally found that in Glasgow, you find that the library have a book that you want. You can just ask to subscribe an ebook, and the librarian will just email you, like, currently we have the access to this ebook. And if you do not have time or for any reason that you cannot be on campus, you can just ask the librarian to help you to scan a copy of the book or some chapters of it. So I think this is very important, like the first sentence, the most important thing for social science students. It's like the literature. So if you got plenty of literature from university level, I think it's very helpful and very strong.
Thank you for that, Jesse. It's nice to hear, because when we talk about the facilities, what really brings it all together, makes that work, hopefully, is the staff and everything that you deal with that helps make the best of those. We will come on to one particular relationship that you'll have as part of your journey shortly. I'm conscious that I don't want to take up too much time with these questions and not to give enough time to the questions that are being people are kindly posting into comments. So what I will do for the next few questions, I may only ask one or two of you to comment on them, if that's okay. Not that everyone's opinion wouldn't be grateful, but I just don't want to run out of time for the questions that those viewing this have posted. So, interested about the support from your supervisor and the wider Glasgow team. The supervisor relationship, I think, was already mentioned as being pivotal to the success of the research. So, Chan, can I ask you, with where you are in terms of your PhD journey, you've got a bit of experience to draw on from that.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. It's going to be a bit helpful if I give some information about the structure of the supervision meeting. So in our school, at least you'll have your supervision meeting each month, at least monthly, one time monthly, and then you'll be able to have your supervisor's comments on your draft if you submit to the draft, definitely. And then after your meeting, you will need to send out a meeting report to your PGR office just to inform wider audience and what have you, and what kind of challenges you have encountered during the last month. And that's how the basic structure of how supervision meeting works. And apart from that, there are lots of opportunities for you to communicate with your supervisors. You can always email them to get their responses about any kinds of questions. There will be, I'm not sure about this, in the School of Education, we have a PGR office who will be responsible for answering your questions about your office space, your mental well-being, and other more small big things. And that's it. And the college and school level, as I mentioned before, we have a research department who organize all kinds of actions for students. So it's pretty well supported. Again, you can request anything you want to have.
That's great. Thanks, Chan. And when we talk about supervisor, I think it's important we talk about the supervisory team, because there's more than one person involved in that. Jessie, I'll ask you the same question, if that's okay. If there's anything you wanted to add to what Chan said.
Yeah, maybe I add from conference perspective, in addition to the supervision. Like, I would say both supervisor and Glasgow team are very important, because the team gives us funds to attend the conference. This is very important, because if you do not have funding, you cannot just cannot show up there. Your supervisor is also very important. They will guide you there, and they will introduce you to some famous scholars, and they clearly know who are good people, and they will help you to build connections with others in the conferences. Because sometimes you will read some literature while you are doing research, but you will have some just questions. How you came up with this kind of research questions? It's so brilliant. So you can just ask them in person. It's helpful, and then you can have like several rounds. If you do it like by email, maybe you can just do it one round. But if it's in person conference, you can do it for several rounds, and even feedback on your chapters or even your thesis. So this is what I want to add. Like the supervisor and wider Glasgow team are trying to help us to not only develop our thesis in the campus, but also outside the campus internationally. So this is what I really appreciate and make me feel my favorite. I think one of the favorite parts of the school.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Jessie. And it's interesting you mentioned that international aspect, and it picks up on what Ian said around the university's world-changing aspirations. And the next part that I'd like to talk about is, and Ian, bearing in mind where you are in your studies, it would be good to hear your experience of this, and it's what the PhD application process is like. So from recognising it's what you wanted to do when you said, yep, University of Glasgow is where I want to be, how did that process then work for you?
Were you asking me, Tony, yeah?
Yes, sorry.
Oh, nice one. Yeah, sorry about that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I might not have done it the orthodox way. I might have perhaps done it the unorthodox way. But what I did was I first identified a topic that I wanted to do. I then aligned with the, sort of online portal to see what the what academics cover that sort of topic. And then once I did that, I then reached out to the academic to have a chat, because even if I want to do that topic, I can do a proposal like that. But for me, it's about having a chat and seeing, if they agree with it, if they would even be able to support it. You could do a proposal and then they could just say, well, I'm not interested, or whatever it is. So for me, I do like to sort of reach out. And then when you reach out and have a chat, in my instance, I was then able to sort of gauge that we have similar alignments. And then from there, kind of, just do the proposal and then formally apply. But I'm quite keen on having that discussion beforehand to also make sure that the alignment with your supervisor is also there. And I think also having a topic, again, based on my experience, I would start with a topic that you like. So if you're doing a topic that you don't enjoy or you're not feeling that inclined for, then it's going to be a very long 3 years. It's actually going to be like 6 years in your head, especially if you're not feeling that excited about it. So I would say pick a topic that you can do in your sleep. I'm doing a topic on the Kenyans. I'm Kenyan. But there was times I was going to do a topic, and it's really hard to sell that topic if you don't believe or buy into that. And I also think that your supervisor has a significant part to play in your journey. Not to place so much emphasis on your supervisor, but at the start anyway, initially I would recommend and encourage finding an engagement where there's good alignment and it can work.
Perfect, thanks Ian. So the two things I was taking strongly from that was that, have a topic which you have a passion for, because it is something you're committing significant proportion of your period of time and effort and all your energy into something, so it should be something like that. And you also touched on that importance of finding a supervisor that's the right fit for that topic and for you. So we can post more information into chat about the applications process. I think from some of the questions I can see people watching are already familiar with some aspects of the process, but it's also important to hear your experience of that. Jessie, Chan, is there anything you'd like to add to that before we move on?
I think Ian provided a perfect answer, so it's better we can move on. Thank you.
Well done, Ian. So this is a one-sentence answer, and I'll keep this one brief. What's your favourite part of studying at University of Glasgow and living in Glasgow? Chan, over to you.
Yes, sure. So I like the park, as Jessie mentioned. I like the park, and School of Education is based in St Andrew's building, which is very located next to the. So every time I had some confusions in my head that I couldn't get rid of, I just invited my friends, like, do you fancy a walk in the park? So we just went to the park and chatted a little bit. Every time I went back from the park to this building, I feel like my brain was refreshed in a way, not completely. So yeah, that's the part that I enjoyed. If we are talking about the PhD studying journey, I'd say identifying and encountering challenges and seeing yourself to cope with it. It's a part I mostly enjoy. When you look back, you will realize my thoughts here. I realized, okay, how many challenges I had encountered and I had overcome as well. So that's the thing I also enjoy. Thank you. That's it.
Jessie, a quick one from you on the favourite part of studying and living in Glasgow.
Okay, so in addition to the funds and conference opportunities, I also love the people they are so supporting, because I would like to give you a very brief about the story. Like one day I forgot my key of the office in my office. Then the thing is I cannot access to. Then I asked for someone in the gatehouse, and he is so supportive. Called to all, like I think the whole team, like 5 people, are trying to find out the key for me, and it took us 8 hours the whole day. We even had lunch together. We are trying to find out the cleaner, like the administrator, all the people that can help us to deal with this issue. And I think finally, we sure we have found the key. And I think the process of finding the key is also very warm. Makes me feel like so being a part of the University of Glasgow. Really, everyone is seeing us as our friends and as even like a little bit like a family member, because they are really trying to do everything they can to help them to find the key.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jessie. That's back to that community that we spoke about earlier on. That's a lovely example. Ian, quick one from you on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with both the girls. I mean, I think for me, again, I know I'm mindful, I might be a bit biased, but I think environment is my most favourite part about studying and living in Glasgow. So I'm talking about both the city and the institution. Being in an institution with the world's best people, you know, kind of having global talent all come together and combine like interdisciplinary and department, you know, into collaboration. But also I think being in a post-industrial city reinvented. I'm mindful the TV personality Danny Dyer called Glasgow Stab City in the early 2000s. But, you know, I think it's a post-industrial city reinvented. And as far as what I'm concerned, it's one of the best cities in the world, alongside Nairobi and the city of God, which is Rio de Janeiro, of course.
Having been born and brought up in Glasgow, Ian, you'll get no arguments from me. I have 2 very quick questions then before we start picking up questions from our viewers. So I'm saying a quick question. I know this could potentially open up another long answer, but briefly, what would you like to do after your PhD? What doors is it opening for you? Ian, early thoughts from you? Sorry, Ian, that was for you first, if that's okay.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. It's the echo chamber. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's teach, which I'm doing currently. Secondly, I think would be to contribute to society beyond financial gain, which to me looks like inspiring through research. And I also want to create my own charity called Piece by Piece. And that will be to help individuals in the grassroots community. A bit like having a university institution, I want to make sure that anyone that comes to the charity can go through a university process and then graduate with a life PhD. So that will be something that I'd be quite keen to do.
Fantastic. Shannon, over to you.
Yes, since I'm doing teaching and researching assistant at the same time now, so I aim to find a job in the academia for the future. I first to try University of Glasgow to see what kind of contracts I can look for. So if I fail, I'll go to other cities in the UK as well. Yeah, thank you.
Terrific, thank you for that. And Jessie, what do you think about, what would you like to be doing after your PhD?
Okay, so basically I think 3 of us have a common point, like we all of us want to go to the university. And about a link to the chain, so I applied a position in Glasgow, but unfortunately I failed. But I would say the good thing is I already got an offer from Chinese university. Not a bad, it's not bad university. And I will go back to Glasgow in some time. Yeah, I will try to. So I will continuously keep an eye on new positions that will be posted by Glasgow, because I really like studying Glasgow. So that's my plan. So basically it's about lecture in university and like see which university I have a very clear goal, but sometimes maybe the past is not that directly. So this is my
That's great. That's great to hear, Jessie. That's nice that it's encouraging that, you know, out of all those options that are open to you with a PhD from the University of Glasgow, there's still that strong connection. So before we start to work through questions posted into the comments section, my final one for you is if you haven't covered it already, is there one piece of advice you would give to prospective postgraduate research students coming to the University of Glasgow? I will, Jessie, I'll let you have that one first.
Thank you, Tony. So my advice would be brave to say any challenges you are faced with to University of Glasgow or to your supervisor. All of you will be there because, as I said, people are really nice at University of Glasgow. They are supporting. They will try everything they can to help you. So just be brave to say anything. Don't be shy to say, think you need to deal with any challenges by yourself, because we really have a strong team and helpful team and nice.
That's great. But I think be brave is tremendous advice. I will try and take that myself. Chan, what would yours be?
Yes, thank you, Tony and Jessie. I'd say the first one is keep your eyes open of a PhD, but your life is not only about your PhD. You can, as Jessie said, you can always participate in conference. You can even get the funding from your school for going to that conferences, and also lots of the things that happen outside of this university as well. Keep your eyes open, enrich your life. Focus on your PhD, prioritize your PhD, but at the same time, enrich your life, enjoy the city of Glasgow. The second thing is really practical, but I found really important. I'm trying to collect everything I did for the last years during these days, and I found this so important to keep good records of your work. You will have to collect everything, to put everything together to make it to be a thesis at the end. You'd be surprised how much you have done in the past and how much you had missed in the past. So if you are a beginner of your PhD, I definitely suggest you to keep a good record of everything. Use your own local, use your own laptop, and also use OneDrive as another plan. Yeah. Thank you.
No, that's a hugely important practical point there about record keeping and making sure that everything's backed up. And you mentioned the laptop provision, but the most important thing is that that's not stored in the laptop. That's held centrally, because your research is the most important thing. Ian, quick one from you then before we move to the questions.
Yep, I'll just wrap it up with stick to the dream of getting on to your research program. If you are driven and called to it, don't give up on it. Also find a topic that you are passionate about and make sure that you and your supervisor align. I would say have fun in the process as well. Don't forget your student experience. I know a lecturer who's a senior lecturer in a university in England that has repaid to do a doctorate in education in the University of Glasgow, despite having a PhD, because they didn't feel like they got the student experience that they wanted. You've got people paying money to do another doctorate just to have that student experience. And so what does that tell you? It tells you that it is about enjoying and embracing the student experience as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Ian. I am surprised that in November we haven't, in a question and answer session giving advice, mentioned invest in a warm raincoat as well. But that's just the joys of living in Glasgow. So, questions that have been posted, and thanks to everyone who has posted questions. Hopefully you found the comments in the last half hour or so insightful. So, Jan's question for you. Almia has posted that they're interested to know about a PhD in education. Along with research work, does a student require to complete some coursework?
Thank you, Tony. That's a great question. We do have mandatory courses. At my time, it was 4 or 5, but I'm not sure whether they had increased the number of mandatory courses. But those courses are not typical courses. They're just the workshops to let you know about research integrity, safety, and other issues when you're living in this university. And you can always query your supervisors whether you need to some courses in the University of Glasgow. And school level and college level can offer a wide range of courses for students. And you can also have an option to do a full course, which means you have to submit your assignments. And Or you can just choose to do auditing, which means you don't have to submit your assignments, but just go to the classrooms listening to the lectures. I hope that answers your question. But normally it would say in University of Glasgow, we don't have mandatory courses to finish. We don't have to get credits from courses, at least in my school.
Sure. That's great, Chan. Thank you for that answer. That's perfect. I can see there's a couple of questions around specific funding opportunities, and our team in the background have really helpfully posted some links to funding opportunities. There's also a question regarding English language requirements, which again, there's a minimum IELTS score of 7 with no subtest less than 6.5 or equivalent, so that detail's there. There is one question that I'm going to pick up just now, if that's okay, because I think it's a terrific question, and it's from Nafisa Marwan, who said, "Hi, could you share what a typical day is like for you as a PhD student? I'd love to hear specifically how you balance dissertation work with responsibilities like being a TARE." Jan, do you want to pick that one up first? I will come to you and Jessie for their view on that as well, if that's okay.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. That's a great question too. I can say what I did for today. I had a meeting about my project, which I work as a RA for in the morning, and then I went back to focus on my thesis, and then this meeting comes up. I have to go to another classroom from my office to go to another classroom to do this meeting, and then after this meeting, I'll go back to the office to work on my thesis again. So it's a quite typical day for me. But sometimes when my brain is working, I will focus on working on my thesis. If my brain is not working, I just work on some other things like managing your references. Also, it's important to have your own routine. My brain doesn't work during the morning time, so I don't come to the office in the early morning. I just show up in the office at around 10 or 11, late until night time in the office. It might take some time for you to figure out the better way that suits you, but you will figure it out for sure.
Sure. Thanks, Jessie, is there such a thing as a typical day for you?
Okay, so I would share from law school level, because in law school, as I have mentioned, we have a research center which is based in ARC, Advanced Research Center. In level 5, we call it CREATE. So there, all PhD students will be there every day, almost every day. So basically, it's like we went there early, like 9 a.m. and then we will keep typing, keep researching, and if anyone researches that day, so they will just leave, and then we will have a meeting together, communicate with each other, with peers about the ideas, about the research methodology, about our golden thread of our thesis, and then we will continue our research and reading, writing, and respond to the comments, and then we say goodbye with each other one by one, because everyone has their goal to finish every day. If we finish earlier, then we can leave earlier and say goodbye, see you tomorrow. This is very typical day of mine.
Yeah.
And
that's great, thanks Jessie. And the last word on this one, Ian, goes to you.
Yep, thank you very, very much for that, Tony. Yep, I mean, just to keep it simple, for me, I already teach. I teach between 10 to 16 hours. I'm in my first year, so I've established that within the first year, I need to write my literature review, anywhere from maybe 15 to 20,000 words. So I've got from now till May, which is the first annual review, to sort of compile my literature review. So for me, a normal week looks like sort of organizing and compartmentalizing my time. The days that I have off, I just focus on doing what I need to do. I think it's important to establish what you need to do and then just go on and do it. And then in between that, teach, get some experience, and enjoy the process.
Fantastic, thanks Ian. Well, that brings us to the end of today's question and answer. I do hope you found it useful, we all do. This and other recordings from today will be made available here and on the website over the next few days if you want to watch anything back. I hope we have covered all the questions. If not, there will be links posted which will allow you to contact us, and perhaps we can pick up specific questions through those. But to find out more about studying at the University of Glasgow, visit our YouTube channel to view programme overview and student videos. And to connect with other students and find out what it's like to study in Glasgow, you can chat online through UniBuddy. So thanks again for joining our session. Thank you for the questions. Thanks to Jessie, to Jan and to Ian for all the insight they provided. And we hope to welcome you to campus soon. Thanks all. Goodbye.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.